Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. It's so great to have you all joining us here today. Um, for those who might not know me yet, I'm Marissa. I am the head of operations at Wonderful and also the conference director of WITS. I would love to see who all is here joining us today for this event. We're going to be talking with Yulia about how to get your stories published in travel magazines. So if you would like to, I'd love for you to share in the comment section your name and where you're tuning in from today. And while you're doing that, another quick note that you can use the comment section. If you're watching on YouTube, you can use a comment section there to ask any questions that you might have, and we'll try and take those throughout the event today. But in addition to that, if you are looking for live captions, you can head over to our WITS Travel Creator and Brand Summit Facebook page and watch the event from there, and that will have live captions embedded in it. Oh my gosh, there's so many of you chiming in the chat. Adrian's in Indiana. I see Kirsten in Burlington, Vermont. Ella in New Zealand, currently living in the UK. So great to see you all here. Caitlin's tuning in from Denver, Colorado. We have people from all over. TL is in Edmonton, Alberta. So it is so fantastic to see you all here joining us today. And so as I mentioned, put your questions, comments, anything you have in that comment section. For those of you who don't know about Wonderful yet, we are a global community and a lifestyle brand, and we primarily specialize in helping all women travel the world. And we do this by connecting our community online as well as in person. We have a thriving online membership network. There's local chapters in 50 cities and counting all around the world. We also have global summits like the WITS Online Summit that we're hosting this week, as well as a number of many others that we're looking forward to getting back to in person, hopefully soon, and some small group trips as well. And ultimately, while we connect women travelers together, we also really focus on amplifying the voices of women and all underrepresented people in the travel industry, and ultimately strive towards making this industry one that, above all, is more equitable, inclusive, and thoughtful. So we do have WITS Online kicking off today, and if you are registered for this event that you're at right now, you should automatically have a free ticket to WITS Online. So you'll be receiving all of the links to join the sessions that are happening throughout the week. Those will be in your inbox, and we'll be checking in with you frequently this week to make sure you have all of that latest information. So if you are looking for the full schedule, you can find that at witsummit.com/online, and we'll share some of these links in the chat with you shortly as well. So I wanted to say a huge thanks to Genius Woman for making this event possible, and for Yulia for being here with us today and sharing her expertise with everyone. She is an award-winning travel photographer and writer with work in National Geographic, Condé Nast Traveler, BBC Travel, Lonely Planet, and more. Yulia was a U.S. Navy sailor and corporate brand manager for over a decade at the world's biggest consumer goods companies. After getting an MBA and spending years on this path, she left this career to pursue her dream of becoming a travel photographer and writer. She has since worked with her dream publications, National Geographic Traveler, Afar, BBC Travel, and more, and traveled on assignments to incredible places like Mongolia and Rwanda. Today, Yulia is kickstarting a movement with the Genius Women community to help women creators everywhere find their voices, get published, and step into their brilliance, not alone, but together with other incredible women. So thank you to Yulia. I will pass it off to you from here, and we really appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much, Marissa. Thank you for that amazing introduction. And it's so wonderful to see everybody from all around the world. Amman, Jordan, hello. One of my favorite places in the world. South Florida, Houston, Atlanta. Welcome, everyone. So great to have you here. And the mission of Wonderful that Marissa just mentioned is so near and dear to my heart. And that's why, you know, I reached out to Marisa and said, I want to do an event with you guys, because that mission is very close to what we're doing with Genius Women as well. And as Marisa said, if you have questions as we go along, please leave them in the comments, and Marisa is going to help facilitate that. Don't wait until the end. Let's take your questions as we go along. We have a lot of information to cover today, so excited to be here. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to share my screen with you. Just 1 second. This is the first time I'm doing this on StreamYard, so just give me a second here. All right. So again, welcome everybody to our workshop, How to Get Your Travel Stories Published. My name is Yulia Denisyuk, and I'm a travel photographer and writer. So before we get started, let's do a quick travel publication bingo game. Here I've listed some of the most well-known publications out there: Condé Nast Traveler, Afar, Travel and Leisure, BBC Travel. So I wonder how many of these are on your wish list. If most of these are on your wish list, then you're definitely in the right place. And for the past 5 years, I've been playing this bingo as well. And I can say that I'm not, I don't have all 9 of these, you know, with my published work, but I have 7 of them. So that's pretty good. I hope that works for you too. So today you are in the right place if you want to get published, you want to tell your travel stories, but you really don't know where to begin. And you're also in the right place if you feel like there is no one you could reach out to, you wish that there was a roadmap to getting published, and you feel like you're poking around in the dark, mostly on your own. And how do I know that you might be feeling this way? Well, it's because when I started in this industry, that's how I felt. It was really difficult for me. It was a challenging road. I'll tell you a bit more about it later. But these were all the feelings that I was feeling at the time. You're also in the
Yulia, we're not able to see your screen right now, or your slides, I should say.
Oh, you're not able to see my slides. Okay. Let me try again.
Okay.
See, I'm telling you, bear with me because this is the first time that I'm doing this. Okay, so let's try this again. Are you able to see it now?
There we go.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for saving that presentation, Marisa. Yes. So you're also in the right place if you want to learn how to take action to build your storytelling career. You want to become part of community of women travel storytellers. You want to know how to reach out to all those publications on that bingo card that none of you guys have seen, but that's okay. And you're also in the right place if you want to follow in the footsteps of other people who have shared, who have used this roadmap and got their stories published. So today what I'm going to show you is the steps you should take to get your travel stories published. That's why we're all here. But before we get into it, just wanted to share with you a little bit about the origin story of Genius Women. You know, last year, just before COVID started, I decided to start sharing my knowledge about this industry with other people, because people have been asking me for years, you know, how do you get published in National Geographic? How do you do this work and all of that? So I decided to start sharing this knowledge. I issued out my first masterclass. I said, hey, you know, come join me. I'm doing this class. And all of the students that came to that class were women. I'm not sure why I wasn't specifically just asking for women to come join me, but somehow these were all the students that I ended up having in my first class. And as I was sharing this knowledge of this industry with them and sharing with them how to pitch publications, how to do this job, I've uncovered that many of us are also carrying a lot of other challenges as we're trying to do this job. And most of those challenges were about feeling that, am I good enough? Do I have what it takes? Who's going to listen to me? Am I National Geographic material? And seeing all those doubts and seeing all those challenges rise up to the top was sort of an aha moment for me. And I realized that there was something cathartic and something powerful when women gather together and we are vulnerable and we are sharing those challenges that we go through and actually seeing that all of us, literally all of us, are going through the same challenges. So that was the idea of Genius Women. It's women coming together, boosting each other up, sharing those challenges, realizing that we all have similar issues, and in the process becoming bolder and braver as we reach out, as we pitch publications, and as we see our work out there in the world. So as we go into today's publication, I sort of want you to also take a moment and think about what's stopping you, right? What has been stopping you so far? If publishing your travel stories, if working with Travel Magazine is one of your dreams, but you haven't yet seen that dream come to fruition, just sort of start asking yourself, what is it that's actually stopping you? Is it that you're don't know where to start? Maybe you're afraid to put your ideas out there. Maybe you feel like you're not enough. What is it that's actually stopping you? And the most probably powerful and cathartic piece to this is that these challenges, these thoughts that we all go through, they don't go away, you guys. They absolutely don't go away. I don't have to prove anything to anyone anymore. I'm published. I'm award winning. All that stuff. But I go through these challenges as well. Just the other day, yesterday, I ran a workshop with National Geographic where they invited me to be a panelist on one of their travel photography and writing masterclasses. And when they reached out to me, it felt amazing. Of course, I said, yes, I will do it. And then they followed up. They sent me a presentation from past year that a photographer from past year has done, so that I kind of see how it looks like. And the imposter syndrome was real at that point, because I was looking at that presentation from last year and I was like, oh my God, can I really do this? Am I good enough to be up there as a panelist for National Geographic and lead one of their expert masterclasses? So I'm sharing the story with you to say that those feelings, those things that we go through, they don't go away, right? They just change their shapes and their forms as you get higher and higher in this career or in any career, right? Your imposter syndrome occasions will just look different, but they're absolutely going to stay there. And so it's really important for us to feel like we have someone who can support us on this journey. When I started, I didn't have that support. And so that's why this mission now is really important to me. And that mission is to help other women feel confident, feel brilliant, feel bold, to go after their storytelling and creative dreams. Okay. So here's what we're going to learn today in this workshop. We're going to look at how to define and focus our dream career vision, what research we need to do to find publications we want to work with, how to take action, pitch, and build relationships with our dream publications. And like I said, if you have any questions as we go along, feel free to just put them in the comments. And before we get started, I want to share some housekeeping with you. Please close down any other tabs. Please have a pen handy and take notes if you want. And also see if you can give yourself this hour to fully focus on this on this presentation and what I'm about to share with you, right? We live in such a fragmented world. I know this, right? We all experience this. We have all these notifications, our phones, all of that stuff, email coming in. But I find that workshops like this, sessions like this, they really work best when you have your focused attention and really dig into what I'm sharing with you here. Okay, so a little bit of my story again. Yulia Denisyuk, a travel photographer and writer and founder of Genius Women, a platform that I started last year after my accidental discovery, teaching that first workshop, that first class to all women. And you can also connect with me on Instagram at In Search of Perfect. You can see some insights from the National Geographic workshop that I led yesterday on Instagram as well. So check that out there. And our platform is also on Instagram at Genius Women. Okay. So I got into this career about 5 years ago. I was working in corporate at the time, living in Manhattan, having the high life, earning a very nice big salary, and being really, really miserable with that job. And just every day was a struggle. And I really had this feeling all the time that I was living someone else's life. I yearned to travel. I've been traveling ever since I was little. But with that corporate job, it was becoming more and more increasingly difficult. And many of you know this, especially in the United States, 2 weeks vacation corporate policy is just absolute, abomination in my view. And so that's sort of where I was 5 years ago, really feeling stuck and not sure what to do next. And I reached a point of extreme burnout at the end of 2015, to the point where my back gave out. I couldn't even sit at my office anymore, at my office desk. I had to stand. I had to work standing up. And that was a sign to me that something had to change in my life drastically. And I did. At the beginning of 2016, I quit that job and I said, you know what, Yulia, it's now or never. I want you to go ahead and try to figure out this dream that you've always had. And my dream was to work with travel publications and be a photographer and writer and travel the world and discover places and write, create stories about those places. And I dove head first into that challenge and into that journey. But what I did is I gave myself 6 months. I said, when I quit my job, I said, Yulia, you have 6 months to figure everything out. You have 6 months to work with National Geographic and build this career and all of those things. I went on a 6-month trip around the world. And in that time, that was my plan. I was going to figure everything out. And of course, 6 months came and went, and I didn't figure anything out. Surprise, surprise. I came back stateside after that 6-month trip, and all my friends were still in corporate, were making VPs, were advancing in their careers, were feeling pretty good. And I just felt so lost. And I was like, oh my God, what did I do? What did I do with myself? That's where a moment of clarity came to me. And I don't know where it came from, but one night I sat down, I took a sheet of paper, I took a Sharpie, and I said, I will write on this sheet of paper 10 things Yulia will become by the end of the year. And I did. That's what I did. I wrote out those 10 things. And that was a brilliant moment because it really focused me. It gave me direction. It gave me clarity. It gave me what I needed to know, okay, what are the steps I need to take next? And by the end of that year, 8 of those 10 things on my list came true. So I really lived the power of getting yourself that clarity and that focus. And of course, fast forward to today, I'm extremely happy with what I do, how my career is unfolding. I'm really grateful to work with some amazing publications out there, and of course now also sharing all of this knowledge with people in events like today's at WITS conference. So again, just want you to sort of put this into your head a little bit as we go through this content and this presentation. What's standing between you and getting published, right? What's stopping you? The answer might be different for many of us, but actually a lot of those answers are very similar as well. Like we all have those similar thoughts as well. So the three key areas, the three key phases for this approach are focus, research, and action. And we're going to go into each one of them to discuss exactly what I mean by focus, research, and action. But if you want to do anything in life, really, what I found, if you want to create anything, create something from nothing. These are the three key phases: focus, research, and action. Okay. So in the first phase, focus, what we're going to do is we're going to think about what our vision is, what our strengths are, and what our targets are. When it comes to your vision, the key question to ask here is, what are you trying to achieve? You know, people always approach me, they send me emails, they send me DMs on Instagram, and they say, I want to be published, or they say, I want to be a travel photographer or writer, or they say, I want to do what you do, Yulia. How do I get published in National Geographic? All of those one sentence statements are just not enough information. It's not enough information, and it's too vague of a wish. And that's one of the reasons why these things stay as wishes or stay as, you know, some sort of fantasies that people have. It's because when it's that vague, you don't really know what to do with that, right? When you say, I want to be a photographer or writer, what do you do with that information? What's the next step from that? There isn't enough. So what I always encourage people is to really dig deeper than that and create a vision for yourself in this path. If your dream is to work with travel publications, if your dream is to travel and create stories and do this job, go beyond that one statement, right? Write out, you know, literally in our course that we teach, we actually write this out as a whole piece, a statement of what your vision looks like. And we ask things like, what kinds of stories do you want to tell? Right? And how do you want to feel as part of this job? You know, for me, one of the biggest things was, for the past 5 years, I haven't felt like I'm working for most of the days in those 5 years. And that's just incredible. And I wouldn't give that up for anything. For any amount of salary that a corporate position can pay me, I would never give that up. That's important to me, you know, feeling like I'm living the best, to the best of my abilities and to the best of my dreams and all of that. So for yourself, right, how do you want to feel in this vision? The second key point is know your strengths. What can you bring to the table? So that goes to that idea that a lot of us have experienced confidence issues, and we think that we're not good enough to do this job, right? It looks so fabulous on Instagram, people jetting off and people, you know, working with all these incredible brands, but anybody can do that job with enough preparation, enough support, enough knowledge. All of us can do this job, I believe, because all of us are incredible and all of us have amazing talents just waiting to be discovered. So what are the unique experiences, skills, passions, and curiosities that you have that give you the mandate to do this job? Because, you know, we all have such unique combinations. That's something really interesting to understand, that none of us is ever like another human being, right? All of our experiences, all of our life paths, they have created us into this unique imprint of this unique individual. And so we tell stories in an absolutely unique way that no one else can replicate. And that's a really powerful thing to realize on this journey, that you have something very unique that no one else can replicate. And that's your mandate to do this job and to tell the stories that you want to tell. So what are they? Do you know what these things are? And finally,
I think we might have lost your audio. I don't know if it's just me. If someone could put in the chat if, yeah, yeah. Yulia.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, good. Oh my goodness, is it Mercury or something? When did you guys lose me?
Just right before I hopped in, so
okay, perfect.
We didn't miss much.
Okay, all right. Can you see my presentation now?
Yes, it says the Know Your Target screen.
Okay, amazing. This is fun. So yes, so knowing your target, right? Being very clear on which publications you want to work with, and it's okay if they are the National Geographics of the world, or I don't know what's other incredibly big and scary brand to approach. It's all fine, but you have to sort of have that vision and know what you're working towards and be very clear in that vision, because that's going to give you the steps you need to proceed, right? What we're trying to do in this phase is we're really trying to focus our efforts, right? And be really targeted and specific with our efforts here. And when I think about this phase, focusing and the power of it, I think of Hannah is in our community, in our Genius Women community. And she came to us, she was thinking that this is really, she called it a hopeless fantasy. And by the time we were done with the class, she said that it's not just a pipe dream, it's entirely achievable and within touching distance. And that's the power of that focus, right? Again, because if you say just one sentence, I want to be a travel photographer and writer, that's not enough information to actually take action and proceed with that. So I have some homework for you guys for this session. As part of the focus phase, I encourage you to write out your dream, write out your vision and what you want for yourself. And again, not just one sentence, in great detail, describe that vision, what you feel, what you see, what, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed in that amazing vision for yourself. What does that day look like? Who are the people around you? Who are you working with? All of that stuff. I cannot overestimate how powerful that is. And if you do nothing else from this session today, but just that, I believe it's going to be incredibly powerful for you. And before we move into phase 2, any questions so far on what we covered?
No questions, I don't think, that I've seen coming yet, but just a reminder, if anyone does have questions, feel free to drop those in the comments at any time. You don't have to wait to the end, and we will take those throughout.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, perfect. Phase 2. So now that we've gotten our focus, we wrote out our vision and we understood what we bring to the table. Now it's time to do some research. And in this phase, we're going to strategize our approach. We're going to research the publications, and we're going to look at the story ideas that we can approach these publications with. So when I talk about strategizing your approach for reaching out to publications, what I mean here is, again, it goes back to being very vague with that statement and being very targeted with who do you want to work with. All of this information and all this that I'm sharing with you, it all comes from my own experience, right? And how I did things, because I actually did things the hard way. I learned how to do it the hard way, and now I'm sharing with you how not to do it the hard way and how to do it the smart way. That it's not going to take you, several years to getting published and to figuring this out. Because at the beginning, what I did is I sort of just randomly threw stuff against the wall, just randomly approached any publications that I saw, or, it was all very random and very haphazard. And a lot of times I didn't hear back. And when you don't hear back, you get discouraged and you start thinking all kinds of things like, okay, this is not for me. This is not working out. I don't have what it takes. People are not noticing my stuff, all of those things, right? It's very easy to go into that space for many of us. So the tiered publication approach, it really, it allows you to map out that progression. It's almost like, imagine like you're doing stairs, right? Your dream publications are right here that you want to work with. And you're like, okay, what are the steps that I need to go there, right? Step 1 is here, then step 2 and step 3. And so instead of sort of randomly throwing stuff against the wall, you're actually very strategic about your effort, because, pitching is hard and pitching takes a lot of energy from us, right? So we'd rather use that energy on publications that are that we've thought about strategically, rather just randomly reaching out to people. And then when you have those publications, in that, let's say, strategy document for yourself, you want to research them. That's a really, really important point, you guys. Editors tell me this all the time, that they can see right away when a pitch that they get is from somebody who took the time to research the publication and read the publication versus somebody who didn't. And again, that comes from that throwing stuff against the wall, copy paste your pitch, send it out to 10 people, see what sticks, right? That's a approach. But editors can see that because they know their publications very well. So they can see when the people writing them have taken the time to really understand how the story is going to fit. And here, what you're really looking at, what are their content verticals in this publication? What are the different sections that they have? What is the tone of voice? What kind of stories do they usually publish, right? You're reading the publication, and all of that is going to make your pitch much, much, much stronger and going to give you a much bigger chance of success. And then the third piece here is to identify story ideas you could pitch to your target publications right now. And that really comes from, if we go back to the focus phase, when we looked at our unique strengths, experiences, skills, and curiosities, what are the things that you're passionate about? What kind of stories do you want to write or, create if you're a photographer? Maybe you're into sustainability. Maybe you're into, animal welfare or, whatever it is, right? And then this about yourself. These are the kind of stories you want to write. And then you find those publications, do the research on them, and then do this cross-pollination, how I call it, right? This is the types of stories that they usually publish. This is what I want to work on. How, where's that crossing point? That allows me to offer something to them that they would be really excited about. Okay. And
Yulia, we do have a few questions that have been coming in if you want to take some of those now.
Sure.
So Christina asks here, is it better to write the piece first or to write to them with a pitch?
Almost always better to send them a pitch first. And that comes really from the fact that, when your pitch gets accepted, then you sort of have this conversation with the editor, and your final piece might look much different from, what you wrote in the beginning. So I always recommend, and editors don't like to see finished pieces as, the first thing that they see from you. What they want to see first is really a pitch, not a finished piece.
And another question here, did your vision change the more research that you did?
Yes, absolutely. And your vision is going to change, right? As you learn more about yourself, as you learn more about your work, as you get new information, your vision is absolutely going to change. And that's okay, right? That's an ongoing process, I think, for humans in general to sort of refine. The fundamentals of my vision haven't changed, but some specifics and some things have for sure. So, yeah.
Is it more financially stable to get a staff job with one publication or to be freelance?
Of course, right? When you're staff anywhere, you have a salary, which is always more stable than doing freelance. But at the end of the day, it all depends on sort of what your specific situation is. For me, going freelance made more sense because I love the freedom. I'm a very freedom-loving person. So after corporate, I wanted to get as much freedom as I wanted. And so that was my path, but it doesn't have to be, right? Staff position at a publication is a viable choice as well, for sure.
And one final question for now. Would you mind going back to those 10 things you initially wrote down? Just because I know I don't think we were able to see that up on the screen, and some people were asking about those.
Oh, got you. I don't have an image of that. That's a good idea. I should include an image of that for next time. No, there wasn't an image of what I wrote, but for me, it was just the things that I wanted to do, right? In that moment in time, who I wanted to be by the end of that year. And one of them was to be published in Lonely Planet, for example. The other one was to be published at a farm magazine. And I think another one was to start leading photography trips, right? So that one doesn't really have a formula per se. It's more about what are some specific things that you want to see yourself by the end of the year, right? And that's what you should write down. Does that make sense?
Awesome. Yes, thank you so much.
Perfect.
That's all we have for now. So we will proceed and take more questions in a bit.
Amazing. And Marisa, question for you. Do we need to stop at an hour because we have 24 minutes left?
No, it's okay.
Cover everything.
No, that's okay. We won't get cut off. So if we go a little over, everyone is welcome to stick around if you're available for that. And we are recording this today as well. So the same link, wherever you're watching, whether it's on Facebook or on YouTube, that same link is also where the recording will live. So if you do need to hop off early for any reason, you'll be able to catch it there.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because I'm just looking at the time and I still have a lot more to share with you guys.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much, Marisa.
Sure.
Okay, so, Tony was one of the people that also, for her, it was helpful that all this research and all of this preparation, that's what really changed it for her, right? Because again, we're trying to be as tangible as possible with all of our steps and to make that vision as tangible and as within reach as we can. And it was awesome to see that Tony felt that way as well. So we're gonna brainstorm the publications that we want to reach out. We're going to write out that list of publications that we want to work with, and then we're going to strategize how we're going to approach them, right? Step 1, step 2, step 3 of those publications. That was actually that was your homework, right? So homework for you is to do that, to write up a list of publications that you want to work with, and then create that strategy for yourself. Who you're going to reach out to first. Who are you going to reach out to second, and when are you going to reach out to those dream publications of yours? Phase 3 is probably the most important. Well, they're all important, but phase 3 is super important. Why? Because actually taking action is how you're going to create that vision and bring that vision into reality. So I don't know how many of you have come across, Genius Women or what I do before this workshop. But if you have heard me say this before, that taking action is the only thing that separates our desired reality and our current reality. But the thing is that oftentimes we stop short of taking that action. And I see this again and again and again and again. It's heartbreaking actually to see that. How many of us have these dreams, the aspirations, we want to do something amazing, but a lot of us stop short. And in some ways, a lot of what we do with Genius Women and with the steps that we've covered so far is to boost our sort of, it's to make sure that we don't stop short. It's to make sure that we take action, because at the end of the day, we live in a very reality-driven world, right? Yes, it's very important to create that vision. Yes, it's very important to do all those things. But at the end of the day, only because you're going to write out that vision and then do nothing is going to change. Absolutely nothing, right? We live in a world bound by laws of physics. Well, in some cases, if we don't talk about quantum physics. But at the end of the day, you need to take action then on all of these steps that you just went through. So that's why this phase is super, super important. And in this phase, what we're going to do is we're going to start building relationships. We're going to actually do the pitch, and we're going to follow up. start building relationships with your target publications. So when I started in this industry, I was very naive. I thought, I don't need to know anybody. I don't need to start networking. I don't need to do any of that. My work and my just brilliance and my creativity and my Instagram account is gonna speak for itself, right? That was kind of my thinking. But of course, it's not like that, right? It doesn't work like that. You have to start getting to know people. And just like any other industry, travel media industry is, it's people working together. And it's very natural for us to want to work with somebody that we know, or at least somebody that we have a connection with. It's very natural. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a human tendency. And so it's important to start building those relationships. And the way you can do that is through social media. You can start reaching out to publications on Instagram. By the way, I haven't mentioned this earlier, but Genius Women, on this platform, we have a podcast. It's called Genius Women. If you search for it anywhere you listen to podcasts, it will come up. And we interview there, we interview editors, we interview travel photographers and writers. We interview just amazing, amazing women creators in this industry. And one of them, Nancy Lova, a photographer based in London, she was talking about how she got some of her first jobs and her first publications is through DMing publications on Instagram. And, that works. That still works even today. A lot of people are afraid to do that, but she went ahead and she did that. And she got in touch with the appropriate editors and she got her assignments that way. So, build relationships on social media, attend industry events like this one, right? Like WITS. I know that there is a mentorship program for WITS this year where, for example, people like Nikki Vargas, the editor of Unearthed Women, is going to be one of the mentors. So take that opportunity, right? Connect with her, start building that relationship. And by the way, Nikki is going to be a guest on our podcast as well in the upcoming season. So, look forward to that. Start engaging with different communities of different magazines in different ways as well. A lot of publications run events, they run contests, they provide a lot of opportunities for aspiring creators to get to know them. So start building your own network that way. And the more you invest into this effort, the more this effort is going to pay off. Then, of course, we actually have to do the pitch. And again, a lot of us stop short of taking action. And in your pitch, what you want to do is you want to answer 3 key questions. And, in the class that we teach, we go into way deeper into this and we provide the actual template and all of those things. But the key questions for you to answer are, why me, right? Why am I the one to tell the story? Why now? Why does the story need to be told right now? And then why this publication, right? Why does the story need to be told in this publication? And again, if you answer these questions, if you do the research that we covered in the prior phase, you're already going to be so far ahead of people. Editors receive so many so many pitches every day. One editor shared with me that she was getting higher than over 200 pitch emails every day. So imagine if that's your job, right? If every day you get 200 new pitches to go through, it's very overwhelming, extremely overwhelming. So, if you have some empathy to the editors and think about how you can make their job easier, and make their job, make it simpler for them to say yes to your pitch, you will do all these steps, right? You will research their publications, you will do your homework, you will answer these questions, and so it will be much easier for them to say yes to your story when you do that, okay? And then another step, which is very important, but again, very often overlooked, is follow-up and consistency. For that reason that I just described, right? Editors get a ton of emails. So your pitch, your initial pitch, very likely that it's going to be just missed. in that mountain of emails that they get. So follow-up is crucial, actually. A lot of my assignments came through not the initial pitch, but the follow-up. And then the editors say, oh, thank you. Thank you for following up. I would have missed it. It's really important to follow up here. And a lot of people don't do that. And why they don't do it? Because they're afraid that if they will follow up, they will hear no thanks, but no thanks. That's why they don't follow up. But you have to follow up, because otherwise you're robbing yourself of this opportunity for somebody to actually say yes to you. And then the other piece is consistency, you guys. I can't stress that enough. So many people say, they pitched somebody once, they didn't hear back, or they got a rejection, and it's like, okay, that means it's not for me. Well, pitching one time is just not enough, you guys. It's like with anything in the creative world, right? I like this example of, if you look at a lot of successful actors, musicians, singers, a lot of them are there not necessarily because they're somehow better than other people or more talented than other people. A lot of the times it's because they stuck through it, right? They stuck through. They didn't give up. They kept going. They kept being consistent. They kept pitching. They kept doing this, even when it felt like everything is against them. Nobody's paying attention to them. They kept going. And that comes from your own motivation for why you want to do this job. For me, it was really easy. I knew from an early age that I wanted to be a storyteller. I wanted to travel, but I took a different path in life. Like many people, I chased that sort of American dream, if you will. And when I got there, I realized that wasn't all I wanted. That wasn't what I hoped it would be. So for me, then, the motivation to go into this career was very strong. I knew that this is what I really want to do with my life. And that helped me to stay on the path, to be consistent, to keep going, even when it felt like nobody's paying attention to my stuff, And now people are reaching out to me. Now people want to work with me. And it's an incredible feeling. But it took consistency, and it took time, really. It takes time, you guys, What I'm sharing with you today, it's not going to be this overnight success for you, which is something that we're all so exposed to now, right? In the age of Instagram and all of that, we're waiting for this viral moments, and we're waiting to wake up famous one day, or wake up with people reaching out to us. It just honestly doesn't work that way. It needs time. You need time to build your portfolio, and you need to be consistent. And that's just the truth. But again, if you have that motivation that you want to do this job, then it's going to be easier for you to stay on this path. And when I think about follow-up and consistency, I think about Vanessa, who I think actually Vanessa is on today. I think I saw her in the audience, but she took our class, and she was very bold in pitching as part of the class. She was pitching National Geographic Kids, and she finally followed up with them. And the editor actually said she liked the idea, and so they're going to consider it, which is, it's not 100% yes, but it's still incredible that her very first pitch that she did got that outcome. And, if she wouldn't have followed up, she probably wouldn't have gotten that feedback. So follow up is extremely important as well. So your homework for this phase of today is to commit, to really make a commitment to yourself that you're going to take action. And action comes in many different forms, right? Maybe it means you're going to reach out to somebody on Instagram. Maybe it means, you're going to actually pitch somebody. Maybe it means that you're going to, sign up for another event. Taking action means engaging with the world in some case, in some shape or form. Reading a magazine doesn't count as taking action, right? Because you're not engaging with another person. You have to engage with somebody in order to take action, okay? So
before you do the recap, Yulia, shall we take a couple more questions?
Yes, let's take some questions.
So one question that came in about you were mentioning the woman that you interviewed, how she did some outreach on social media on Instagram directly. And is that something that you would recommend just to build contacts, or is she actually making the pitch on social media?
No, so it's difficult to make the full pitch on social media. You reach out, by saying something like, "I have an idea," I have this particular idea. You don't send the full pitch in your DMs because that can be pretty clunky. But you can say, "Hey, I have this idea, a one sentence idea, and I think it might be a fit with your publication. So who can I talk to about that?" And I've never done that actually. This is a story I'm sharing with you from Nancy. She was able to do that. I've never actually reached out to a publication on Instagram and pitched them that way, but she did, and it worked for her. So why not try it? The worst thing that you can do is to hear no, or to hear nothing in response. But that's not a disaster. That's actually absolutely fine. So just try it and see what happens.
Awesome. And there is another question about the follow-up that you were talking about. So how long do you wait before following up? And then as a follow-up to that, what method do you recommend, email or phone?
Oh, email, definitely email. Editors don't like it when you when you call them. 10 to 14 days after my initial pitch, I will follow up, and if I don't hear back after another week, I will follow up the second time. So I have one pitch and then two follow-ups. And after that, if I don't hear back from them, then I move on with that idea and I try to take it somewhere else.
This next one could be a whole another hour long, I think, in itself. But do you have any tips about how to approach writing the pitch?
Yeah, well, I covered the 3 questions, right? Why me? Why now? And why this publication? So that's really important. And also keep it short. Keep it really short. Just one sentence idea, which is like the title, and then a short summary paragraph of what is this about. And we go into a lot more detail on that in the course, which I'm actually going to cover that a bit in a second too. Over there we dedicate a whole session to pitching, because you're right, it can be its whole session on its own. But yeah, keep it short is the most important thing, and answer those 3 questions. That's really important.
Can you pitch the same idea to multiple publications, or do you have to do one at a time? What if more than one like the same idea?
Yes, I actually did this once. I pitched the same idea to BBC Travel and National Geographic, and I got into a pickle because both of them liked it, and then you're in trouble. So don't do that. What saved me then was that National Geographic actually wanted a slightly different angle on this idea. Even though I did pitch them the same idea, they wanted a different angle. So that saved me, because I was able to sort of give them 2 different stories. But usually the best practice is not to do that, because then again, you can get into the situation that, and they really don't like it, right? And they don't like it when these competing publications, they're not going to publish basically the story that was just published somewhere else. So, take it to your first preference publication first. And then, if that doesn't work, then move on and go to the next one. Or angles, right? Different angles. Maybe one angle for this publication, maybe a different enough angle for this publication. That approach can work as well.
And I'll take one more now, and then I'll let you wrap up here. So Katie is asking, when do you ask for an assignment letter if you need one in order to complete the article?
If you need one, so if I'm understanding you correctly, you're talking about assignment letter to present to a tourism board. Can you clarify a bit?
I'll let Katie hop in the chat, but I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. So yes, that's again, that can be a whole other topic of conversation, because a lot of publications are not going to give you an assignment letter, actually, because you know, unless you have a very good relationship and sort of a long-term relationship, and you're almost like staff at that publication, they cannot guarantee placement to you up until the day when when the story is published. Meaning that stuff change all the time. Stuff changes all the time in editorial rooms, and so it's a bit of a tension point between tourism boards and freelancers and magazines, because tourism boards do ask for assignment letters before they bring you on a trip, but magazines, usually don't give those assignment letters. So then it comes back to relationships, right? And building trust with all the parties involved. So what I do usually is, when a tourism board tells me, hey, we need an assignment letter, I explain to them, magazines don't, it's really difficult for me to get an assignment letter as a freelancer. However, here's what I've been able to do in the past. Here's where I've been published. And, I know that I will get the story placed after the trip is over. I will work hard to get it placed in a publication. So that's how I manage it, and just being very transparent and, again, building trust and discussing this openly is how I manage it.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much. So I'll stop there for questions for now and let you proceed.
Awesome. So what we'll do now, you guys, we're going to recap, and then I'm going to talk to you about the course that I have. That's if you want to go deeper into all of these questions and all of these things that we covered today. I will cover that for a bit. And then after that, we will do another short Q&A if you want, if there's interest, because I know we're almost at an hour here. But let's do a quick recap today, right? So what we learned was focusing yourself first is really important, then doing the research, and then taking action. Action is, again, that's the thing that's going to get you there, right? All these other steps are in preparation for taking action. And there is nothing more important than for you to take action today. And this workshop was also taking action, right? You coming here today, you interacting, you learning something. That was one way to take action. And I encourage all of you to do that more often too, because the more often you practice this muscle of putting yourself out there and, getting closer to this dream or this vision that you have, the easier it will become. With every action that you take, it's going to become easier and easier. We need to practice that muscle. So I encourage everyone to do that. And I'm not really sure, what was your motivation for coming today specifically? But the question is now, where do you want to go from here, right? And of course, WITS is an incredible platform, and I hope that a lot of you will get a lot of value from all this different content that the platform is providing for you. Please, take full usage of that, because there's really amazing sessions in this community as well. But what I also want to offer to you, if you want to go deeper again into any of these things, into getting published, into pitching a publication, I want that joy. I experience joy every time I see my stories out there. It's an incredible feeling to see your work out there and to have people write to you and say, your story inspired me to go to Jordan, or, to travel more deeper and things like that. It's an incredible feeling. And I want that feeling for you as well. So that's why I want to talk to you just briefly about the class that I teach called Storytellers in Action. And that course is really everything that you need to actually go through the steps and to do the pitch and to actually submit it and get feedback and even get published, like a lot of our students have already been able to do that. In the class, what you're going to learn is how to shape your mindset. How to really know that you are worth it. You are absolutely worth it. And you have incredible stories that the world needs to hear and that the world deserves to hear, okay? You're going to learn how to build your story, how to write the best pitch that you can. how to work this process and how to keep the momentum going. And in the course, there are six modules, and each module is a recorded video. So you get to talk, you get to see it at your own time, at your own leisure. And I'm not going to go through every module actually, because we're about out of time here. But there are basically six modules that take you through this process step by step. We also have a whole bunch of bonuses in this class. There is the trip funding method, the widen your work week workshop, the pitching template, which is actually, I think, very helpful. That's the template I used to pitch Nat Geo Travel. And my pitching average is 1 in 3 of my pitches are successful, and the industry average is 1 in 10. 1 in 10, I believe. So if you're serious about this, you're gonna want to hear and see that template. And then there's also a one-on-one session with me, and there's also a group coaching session as well. Okay, so a lot of bonuses and a lot of information and a lot of knowledge that I'm sharing in that course. And the entire course is not $5,000, not $1,000. It's only $497. Sorry, just 1 second. Just 1 second. Бабуля, я не могу сейчас. Закрой, не могу сейчас. Подожди. Sorry, 1 second. Бабуль, подожди секунду, я не могу сейчас. Sorry. So we have some interruptions here that I have. So amazing feedback. Our students have amazing results. You can sort of look at that later as well when you're perhaps replaying this. But our students do get results. The system does work. And again, I'm sharing everything that I know about the industry in very specific step-by-step ways with this course. So if you're serious about getting a pitch out, gaining some confidence about in this path for yourself, then this is a resource that's really really available to you. The class is enrolling starting tomorrow. But for all of you guys, it's actually open right now. So you can go to this website now, geniuswomen.com/class. You can see it on the screen, and you can take a look and see what's included and all this stuff. Lastly, what I just want to say is that the first 10 people who will join this class are going to get access to our one-day retreat this June that we're doing only for our membership members. So I have a membership as well, and we're doing a retreat this June. And the first 10 people who will join our class will get access to that retreat. And in that retreat, we're going to have a New York Times travel writer and a book author, and just an amazing woman. One of my really good friends. She will come and she will give us her insights, and we'll do a session with her. And there's going to be lots more there too, but that's something to look at as well. Enrollment is open now for the course. You can go to that again, geniuswomen.com/class, and take a look for yourself. And what I just want to tell you now is that the most important thing out of this session today is that you take action, you guys. I can't overstress that enough, right? And whatever that action looks like for you, whether it's pitching somebody, whether it's building a relationship with an editor during WITS or in other formats, whether it's reaching out to somebody on Instagram, whether it's taking our course and joining our community, whatever it is, you owe it to yourself to actually take action and see what happens, because we just never know where this road can take us. We never know until we take action. When I first started on this path 5 years ago, it was my dream to work with National Geographic. I pitched them right away as soon as I quit my job, and I, didn't hear back from them at all. But that didn't stop me. I kept going, and eventually I pitched them again. I got accepted. I've worked with them, since then. Yesterday I led a workshop for them, which was incredible. And so my point here is that you just never know where that road is going to take you. But the only way to find out is to take action. So that's what I encourage all of you to do. And that's it, you guys. I hope that this was a useful presentation for you. I hope you learned something new today. And thank you so much for your time. I know that we ran out of time a little bit, but hopefully this was something that was useful to you. And if we have maybe a few more questions, I can take some now, if people want to stick around a bit.
Yeah, thank you so much, Julia. And actually, before you stopped sharing your screen, we did have someone asking for that bingo that you mentioned. Did you have a slide for that?
Yes.
So that they could see that. But yes, thank you so much. If everyone has time, we would love for you to stick around, and we'll take a couple questions here at the end. But thank you all for coming and staying with us so far.
Yes, thank you guys so much. Okay, here's this. Here's the slide. And by the way, I saw that Sarah just joined Storytellers in Action class. Thank you so much, Sarah. I'm excited to get to know you.
Yay!
That's really awesome. Thank you, and welcome to our community.
And okay. Vanessa is here, and she speaks very highly of your course. So, hi, Vanessa.
Oh my goodness, Vanessa. Guys, you know what? Vanessa has been, like, she's amazing, and she's been on the roll, you guys. She just published in Shondaland yesterday, and she has 2 more stories in the pipeline getting published. So she's been incredible to have in our community. Thank you so much, Vanessa. That's awesome. Okay, so let me share my screen again. Okay, can you see this now? Can you see the slides?
Yes, there it is.
There it is, yes. So
there's your bingo.
Condé Nast Traveler, National Geographic, BBC Travel, all these great publications. And like I said, I'm not in all 9, right? My bingo card is not completely full yet. But I'm almost there, and so this was just something to inspire you to keep pushing for it as well.
Awesome. And you had also briefly mentioned a retreat. Robin was asking where the retreat is located.
You know, I wish I could tell you that the retreat is going to be in Jordan, because actually that's what we're working towards, hopefully for 2022, that our Genius Women retreat will be in Jordan. But for this summer, for June, I'm still not 100% confident to do it in person, because, you know, vaccination levels vary widely. So it's going to be a virtual retreat. Yeah, it's going to be virtual, but we're going to make it fun, you guys. It's not going to be like 6 hours of Zoom meetings. There's going to be chair yoga. There's going to be a dance party. So we're going to work very hard to make it as fun as possible, because of course, Zoom burnout is very real, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds awesome, though. It sounds like a lot of fun. We do have maybe time for 1 or 2 more questions here. So there's a question from more of a beginner point of view and getting started with all of this. Do you always include samples of work when you're pitching? And then how do you recommend people who are just starting out, who aren't published yet, getting around that?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. And in fact, a lot of our genies, so we're a little weird, you guys. We call ourselves genies in our community, short for Genius Women. So a lot of our genies had that question too at first, like that in those initial pitches, right? How do I sort of, what samples of my work can I bring to the table when I'm just starting out? And the best way to do that would be to link them to your blog, if you have a blog, or to link them to any writing sample that you can provide. Because really, what's important to understand, you guys, is that, and again, this comes back to empathy, right? And putting yourself in the shoes of the editors and their job. And what is their job? Their job is to fill their publications with amazing, timely, interesting stories that will resonate with their audiences, right? That's their job. And they're also operating in a really difficult space, right? Very competitive space. They're vying for attention. it's all very competitive. So what they care for is great ideas and great stories that fit with their publication. They don't so much, I mean, with some exceptions, of course, but they don't so much care that they work with, National Geographic writers, let's say. They care that they have great ideas. So that matters more than anything else. So if you bring to them an idea that's well researched, that fits with their publication, so they see that you've done your homework, and you can provide a writing sample, for example, and by the way, they will see the writing sample already in your page, but maybe you can provide one or two more writing samples. That's enough. And when I started out, I did that as well. I referred people to my writing samples, and that did the job. And as you build your portfolio, then you'll be able to link them to those other pieces, which is exciting, right? But yeah, at the beginning, that's how I would do it.
Great. So we will take one more question here. Stephanie has a great question that we didn't really touch on too much today, and that is the photography side of things. So she's wondering how important it is to actually have a good camera.
Well, that depends, right? That depends if you want to do strictly writing jobs, or if you want to do writing and photography. And I am sort of biased because I do both. And I think that gives me an advantage because I'm able to pitch my story, develop my idea, but I'm also able to say that there is a visual component, because I'm able to provide photographs for it as well. And so it really depends on what you want to do. If you want to do both, then yes, then you can take a look at, looking at some good cameras. However, one of our genies, Hannah, who I mentioned earlier in the presentation, she takes pictures with her iPhone, and she's been able to be published, so it's not a make or break requirement is what I would say. But if you do want to, do both, then I would recommend that you look at getting a camera as well.
Great. Well, that's really great information, and we will wrap up there, but I appreciate everyone who took the time to join us today. This was such a great, informative presentation, and a huge thanks to Yulia and to Genius Woman for making this all happen, sharing your expertise, and I hope you all are able to check out her course and get to know her even better as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Marissa. Thank you, everyone, for your great questions today. And sorry we had some interruptions and some technical difficulties. I see that we have Shelly and Amit and Barbie join us in the class. I'm really excited. Welcome, everyone. I hope this was a useful session for you, and I hope to see more of you soon. Please, engage with our Genius Women community. Check out our podcast too. The podcast itself has a lot of, wealth of resources and wealth of information. So check that out as well. And thank you to WITS for this amazing platform and for what you guys do, with your mission of empowering women in travel. That's very near and dear to my heart. So I really appreciate you having me, and thank you for this time. Thank you, guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week.
Of course. Thanks, everyone. Hope to see you at the rest of WITS Online. Take care.